All right, here's the other video. Sorry it took so long. So I did watch Emilia Perez to prepare for this. Now, I have found that in elitist spaces, they'll do this thing where a person or a project is just obviously excellent. Knocks it out of the park. The problem is it was accomplished by a person or art form or genre or whatever that they consider inferior. They either don't want to give the credit to people and forms that they consider inferior. They don't want to upset the privileged pale mediocrity. Often they will give credit to something that's really fucking bad and make up some intellectual excuse of why that was justified. Oh, it was so abstract and just different and like raw. It doesn't matter that the average person didn't enjoy it because like the average person just like doesn't understand. True intellectuals will get it. That's why this is getting nominated for so many Oscars. You know what it's giving? It's giving Glass Onion. Daniel Craig is going off on Edward Norton. Like everybody acts like you're some like elevated genius. All you do is steal ideas from other people. Anything cool you do, it's by happenstance. The shit that you just pulled off wasn't even masterminded by you. He's like, you're actually really fucking dumb. Kate Hudson's character is like, oh my God, like it's so dumb, it's genius or something like that. Daniel Craig is like, no, it's just dumb. Some things are just dumb. Elitist ass people work overtime to make it seem like some sort of intellectual mystery that regular or inferior people just won't understand. No, it's just dumb. Sorry, I had to step out to a tea party. Anyway, like I was saying, even though musicals is one of the forms that they definitely consider inferior forms of art, Emilia Perez had the Oscar bait ingredients, gave them the opportunity to perform this humiliation / appeasement ritual. First of all, it's trauma corn of marginalized people. Palm-colored people love to see that. Frame it as inspiring, and it might be. I think suffering is just the only context that you want to see marginalized people in. Made by European filmmakers. It was framed as very abstract and raw and edgy and weird. Matter of fact, the lack of musical prowess, again, one more way to move the goalpost, be like, no, actually, it was edgy. It's great that it wasn't like good. Also, almost nobody saw it. And the lack of cultural impact. Somehow one more thing that makes it mysterious and like, oh, you just don't understand. Then we have Wicked. I feel like no matter how you feel about it or musicals, musically insane, visually insane. As far as cultural significance, pshaw, bring to life arguably like the biggest or one of the biggest musicals on Broadway. Performances that made people cry. Actors going through months of vocal training, whereas AI was used to enhance people's voices in Emilia Perez. Honestly, really disrespecting the art form of musicals. I'm so sorry. These girls on Wicked are singing technically, proficiently, so excellently live. Set design was crazy. I think they planted something like 9 million tulips. John M. Chu put his entire Chuasi into it. Yeah, but that's another thing, because this movie that shit on everybody, directed by an Asian man. Which is funny because a few years back, remember when people in the industry were complaining about like, oh, Marvel and superhero movies and everything, they're like taking up all the screen space. They're taking, no one's going to the movies to see anything else anymore. Because now they're accustomed to the boom, boom, pow. All they want is boom, boom, pow. John M. Chu proved that wrong. Maybe you just need to make a good movie, because he also directed Crazy Rich Asians, which I believe broke records, especially for a rom-com. People went to see that movie because it looked like a good movie, and then it was one. And now he's done it again. This is a movie, while being incredibly entertaining and colorful, talks about bigotry, talks about racism, it talks about fascism, it talks about xenophobia. It puts an unambiguously black woman in the spotlight. Even though both musicals featured women of color, Wicked, even though there was trauma involved in the story, it was not trauma corn. You know what I mean? And weird palm-colored old men don't like that. They don't like to see marginalized people in any other context other than immense, usually violent suffering. These are all problems to elitist ass people, because it just ate the fuck down, and this is not the kind of movie that's supposed to win the big awards. Headed by the type of people that they don't want to give big awards to. And what's worse, the kind of people and projects that they do want to give big awards to didn't even come close. In production value and impact, get it. Now it's time to perform this humiliation ritual / appeasement ritual. One, you're like, you can be excellent and eat down all you want, but we will never respect you. We will never give you what we consider the big awards because we just don't want to. We will always change the rules of what is good and what is not whenever you knock it out of the park. To another, it's like, don't worry. We got your back. No matter what they do, we know you're the real intellectuals. We know you're the real elites, the real artists. All at the the same time saying that you made this movie as a love letter to certain marginalized communities. Those marginalized communities do not like it. The trans community had a lot of complaints about this movie. Now, I'm not trans, I am a sissy, and so I cannot speak to that. But when I was watching the movie, there were certain things that I would see and certain treatments, and I'm like, this feels exploitative. As a marginalized person in general, I feel like I know what exploitation looks like. It's still not really my place to say. And then I went to the internet and did my own research on what the trans community was saying about this movie. The trans community's complaints about this movie lined up with every single thing I caught and every single thing I thought when I saw that shit. So I was like, okay, I'm not tripping. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Whereas Wicked made a lot of people feel seen, particularly black girls. Yeah, sorry this is long-winded, but all this to say that I truly do believe that it is an appeasement/humiliation ritual. It shows up everywhere in every industry, in every work environment, where people or projects that are considered inferior outperform everyone else. Now you have to change the rules on what good means to knock them down a peg and to protect the sweet baby angel feelings of privileged, usually pale people and projects. Ironically, it's an I'm not that girl situation. And also a glass onion moment of, oh my God, it's so dumb, it's genius. No, it's just dumb.